Here on the workbench, a homemade wooden quadcopter takes flight, right next to a flickering, realistic pocket flame. Both functional devices were built entirely from household trash and parts salvaged from obsolete toys. To pull this off, we're tackling two specific engineering challenges: crafting a hyper-realistic faux fire lamp and building a working micro-quadcopter. You'll need standard craft supplies, like cardboard and popsicle sticks, paired with salvaged electric motors and an RC circuit board. By applying some basic circuitry and structural geometry, you can rebuild everyday junk into a functional flyer and a convincing optical effect. This is our base diagram. To control the airflow for the lamp, you need to cut a perfectly centered rectangular opening inside a circular piece of cardboard. Next, attach a cardboard tube directly beneath that central cutout to form a vertical wind tunnel. Inside this tube, mount a salvaged DC motor and fan blade. Position it so the fan pushes the airflow strictly upward through the rectangle. For the lighting, wrap copper wire and aluminum foil tightly around small LEDs. This creates isolated, conductive light sources that we can secure into the base. Here is the circuit map. Route your wires safely from the battery to a toggle switch, splitting the positive and negative paths to power the motor and LEDs. Pay close attention to these junction points. Make sure positive and negative connections remain completely separate. Pairing a controlled vertical airflow with this precisely routed lighting system gives you the core engine required to generate a practical fire illusion. Standard printer paper is too heavy for a small DC fan to lift. To get the necessary motion, ultra-lightweight toilet tissue is mandatory. Use warm-colored markers to draw a flame pattern onto the tissue. Alternating between reds, oranges, and yellows simulates a natural thermal gradient. Wrap the bottom edge of your tissue cutouts around thin wooden sticks. Then glue those sticks to the very edges of the rectangular wind tunnel we built earlier. Flip the switch, and the fan's upward force catches the lightweight tissue, making it flutter rapidly, while LEDs illuminate the thermal colors from below. A realistic physical illusion relies on physics. Matching material weight to the fan's output force creates a convincing effect using practically free materials. Now let's look at the drone. Start by overlapping two popsicle sticks to form a cross and drill a central hole. For a quadcopter to fly, perfect symmetry is an absolute requirement. Any imbalance will cause it to crash immediately during takeoff. Looking at this top-down frame view, you must measure exactly 3.5 centimeters from the absolute center point down each of the four arms. This measurement is non-negotiable. Use a mini saw to cut off the excess wood at those exact marks, enforcing that strict radius. Take a wider drill bit and create uniform holes at the cut ends of each arm. These will serve as your motor mounts. A quadcopter's ability to hold a steady hover relies entirely on this millimeter-perfect weight distribution across the frame, long before motor power even factors in. Instead of building a complex receiver from scratch, extract a functional circuit board from an obsolete RC car to bypass the difficult electronics work. Pull that electronic brain out of the plastic chassis and mount it dead center on top of your wooden X-frame. Take the four micromotors you salvaged alongside the board and slot them snugly into the widened holes at the end of each arm. This diagram shows how to secure them. Apply heavy superglue to the outer casing of the motor mounts to prevent vibrations, but make sure to keep the central spinning shaft completely clear of adhesive. Attach small wooden skewers underneath the frame to act as landing gear, protecting the battery. Finally, press the four propellers onto the secured motor shafts. Upcycling technology at this level comes down to taking a working electronic brain designed for the ground and transplanting it into a balanced aerodynamic frame. With assembly complete, it's time for a pre-flight systems check. Power on the salvaged remote control and ensure it pairs cleanly with the newly housed circuit board. Push the throttle, and the bare-bones wooden drone lifts straight off the workbench, hitting a stable, controlled hover. Now that you've proven the payload capacity of this frame, you can plan future upgrades, like wiring in a micro spy camera. Completing these projects demonstrates a practical way to reuse salvaged parts. With precise measurements and basic circuitry, everyday household items can serve as the structural foundation for a second life.